From homeless to millionaire, the black story that even Donald Trump and Elon Musk admire. Jack Thompson's life was the kind headlines dreamed of. A reclusive billionaire who built an empire of cutting-edge tech, breaking every rule, shaking the game. Yet behind that cold, perfect suit was a man unraveling. The kind of guy who wakes up one day wondering, is this all there is? He owned castles in the sky, fleets of the fastest cars, even a private island no one could reach. But inside, the walls were closing in. The emptiness gnawed at him like a loud, angry storm on a quiet night. One dirty, gray afternoon, rain slammed against the glass of skyscrapers, slippery streets glistening with city lights and neon flickers. Jack wrapped his collar against the cold, stepping into the chaos of a city that never stops moving. The wet asphalt echoed with the endless rush of lives colliding. People chasing dreams or running away from nightmares. Jack drifted through the crowd, a shadow in. Soulful, raw, alive. Jack stopped, breath catching. A young black man played guitar on the corner, fingers flying, voice rough yet tender. Marcus owned that street corner like it was a stage in a sold-out arena. The notes drifted, piercing Jack's armor, stirring something deep and forgotten. Curiosity grabbed him by the throat. Who was this guy, with dusty shoes and dreams loud enough to shake the pavement? Jack watched Marcus sweat and smile. The music, a defiant beacon amid the rain. He had stories. Pain twisted beneath the tunes, life carved in every chord. They were worlds apart. Jack's polished glass tower versus Marcus's raw, unpredictable street. But Jack felt the pull. Back in Jack's world of glass and steel, his advisors whispered warnings, sharp as knives. Keep business separate. You can't mix with people who don't play our game. Friends nodded, eyes sharp, voices low. Trust me, Jack. This can ruin you. The words felt like chains, tightening around the fragile new bond growing between two men from different worlds. Tension built with every meeting, every glance. Marcus's past shadowed with secrets, a family legacy no one expected, a history hidden beneath the grit, waiting to explode. Jack's own definition of success started cracking, pieces breaking free from the polished picture. What if real wealth wasn't numbers on a screen, but something deeper, more dangerous? Something that shakes the foundation? But just as Jack began peeling back the layers of Marcus's story, challenging everything he thought he knew, a careless choice, a simple misstep, ignited a fight that threatened to burn it all down. The board called. The media sniffed a scandal. The stakes doubled, drowning Jack in pressure. Now he's alone in his penthouse, the city's rain tapping like fingers on the window pane. His phone vibrates non-stop, urgent messages flashing in red. Behind those screens, decisions loom heavy, gut-wrenching. Can he walk away from everything he built for the chance at something real? Or will the weight of old rules crush the fragile light piercing through the dark? Jack stares out over the city, heart pounding. What if the cost to change is too high? Or maybe The real risk is not changing at all. Hey, before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important warning. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without notice. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And since you're here, drop a powerful like that really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and let me know in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participación makes all the diferencia. Let's interact. Jack stares out over the city, heart pounding. What if the cost to change is too high? Or maybe the real risk is not changing at all. Just then, his phone explodes with messages. They're frantic, full of urgent tones. He swipes through, eyes widening as he reads the words. Scandal! You need to see this. The electricity in the air shifts, heavy with something impending. A knock at the door pulls in from the screen. He opens it to find Claire, his right hand, her face pale and taut. Jack, you have to come quick. It's Marcus. There's been an accident. An accident? What do you mean? Panic surges. Is he all right? He's in the hospital. They say it's bad. Without thinking, Jack rushes with her down the hall. None of the familiar chill of luxury matters anymore. The elevator feels like it crawls, the weight of uncertainty pressing on his chest. What if it's serious? What if it's too late? They burst into the emergency room, chaos swirling around them. Nurses rush by, doctors bark orders, and all the while, a haunting buzz cuts through the noise, a lifeless beep echoing somewhere in the distance. Jack's heart races, fear clawing at him. Then he spots Marcus's mother, a fierce figure in the corner. Her gaze pierces through the chaos. Tears streaming, anger boiling. You did this! She points a trembling finger at Jack. You and your money! You thought you could save him or what? Wait, I didn't do anything! Jack feels the blood drain from his face. His head spins. What are you talking about? But before she can answer, an ER doctor rushes in, eyes grave. Who's with Marcus Clark? Jack's stomach drops. He steps forward, but the room freezes. I am. What happened? The doctor swallows hard, gathering strength for the blows. He was in a serious car accident. He sustained critical injuries. We're doing everything we can, but his condition is unstable. The words crash over Jack like cold water, ice gripping his veins, chronically breaking him. Just then, Claire whispers behind him, "The car. It was found abandoned, Jack. No sign of struggle, but it's linked to a company, your company." What? The room falls silent. All eyes turn toward Jack, their judgment sharp and piercing. Claire's breath hitches. They've mentioned foul play. Someone's been digging deep, Jack. People want answers. The walls feel like they're closing in. Jack stumbles back, searching the faces around him. This was not just an accident. No, it can't be. In that moment, his phone buzzes again, an unknown number flashing. He hesitates, but answers, voice shaky. Hello? And an icy voice, low and menacing, cuts through. Jack Thompson? You and your little secret may be closer to exposure than you think. Panic races in his chest, spiraling. The game he thought he mastered was slipping from his grasp. Marcus's life hangs in the balance, And now this? Are they watching him? He hangs up, breathing hard. Every heart-stopping second, passing like an eternity. Jack's dreams are becoming nightmares, shattering into a million pieces. Everything he built, everything he thought he knew. Could it all come crumbling down? Jack. Claire breaks the silence, a tremor in her voice. What is going on? What is your secret? He looks at her, the weight of everything washing over him. The truth begins to bubble, but fear grips him tight. Should he unravel it now, or hold back, burying it deeper? With every moment, the answer hangs in the balance, uncertain and treacherous. Time is slipping away. Jack leaned against the window, the city blurring as rain streaked down the glass. Each drop felt like a reminder of the storm brewing inside him. His heart raced, the tension mounting with every vibrating message on his phone. He breathed in, trying to catch the edge of clarity, but it slipped through his fingers like sand. Then a loud crash shattered the fragile moment. Glass splintered with a sickening sound as a figure stumbled through the door of his penthouse. It was Marcus, eyes wide with wild fear, clothes drenched and clinging to his skin. "Jack!" His voice was thick with urgency. "They know! They're coming!" "What are you talking about?" Jack felt his pulse quicken, body tense. This was not how tonight was supposed to go. "What do you mean they know?" Before Marcus could answer, there were footsteps, heavy and relentless, on the marble floor. Jack's advisors burst in, 3 of them, faces drawn tight with panic. "We need to get out, now!" one shouted, looking like a deer caught in headlights. Jack's mind raced. "Get out! What the hell is happening?" "They're on to you, Jack! The board leaked information! It's everywhere!" Marcus gasped, hands shaking. His eyes darted between Jack and the advisors. Panic growing like a belly full of dread. "Get a grip!" Jack snapped, confusion giving way to anger. The walls of his well-structured world were crumbling, and he needed answers. "What did you do, Marcus?" Before Marcus could respond, a flash of light from below caught Jack's eye. He turned to the window, just in time to see chaos erupting in the streets. People were screaming, police sirens wailing through the rain, lights swirling red and blue. Panic spilled into the streets like ink on a page. In the reflection, he caught Marcus's eye. Something shifted there. A flicker of recognition. "What's really going on?" Jack's voice dropped to a whisper, sharp with suspicion. "Jack, I swear I didn't mean for this to happen," Marcus replied, urgency thickening his words. "I was trying to protect you." "Protect me? From what? Just tell me." Marcus hesitated, his shoulders slumping under the weight of secrets. "Your family, it's connected, more than you think. They've been watching you, me, everything." Jack swallowed hard. "What do you mean, my family?" "Your father, he's—" But the flat of a police shield pressed against the door, followed by the shout of an officer. "Open up! We know you're in there!" Panic surged like a tidal wave. Jack's heart raced as fear twisted inside him like a tightened coil. "What's happening, Marcus?" "I didn't know. I thought it was all behind us." Marcus's voice rose, breaking under the pressure. Desperation painted on his features. The walls of Jack's penthouse felt like they were closing in. Come on, we need to think! Jack shouted, but inside, his mind was fraying. What family secrets could possibly bring the police crashing down on him? As Jack scanned the room, a realization hit him. The screens, the stories, the untouchable reputation he'd built. How tightly had he woven himself into a tapestry of lies? Marcus stepped closer, his face pale. They think you're part of it. The scandal. Everything in your name. Jack's world tilted. In my name? The words echoed in the silence. Terrifying. What if everything he built, everything he valued, was just smoke and mirrors? Outside, the noise grew louder, and Jack felt the walls closing around him, suffocating. Would he lose everything? The gleaming suit, the icy towers, the bloody throne of success? Or would he lose Marcus, the one who stirred something raw deep inside him? As Jack prepared for the worst, the door burst open. Lights flooded the room, shattering the dark. Now they were here. The truth was just a scream away, ready to explode everything in its path. The door burst open, and the harsh light flooded the room, cutting through the chaos like a knife. Officers stormed in, frantic faces scanning for Jack. Panic rolled in waves. Fear surged as Marcus clutched Jack's arm, his grip trembling. Jack! His eyes wide, voice barely a whisper. We have to run! But before they could react, another figure appeared behind the officers. Someone Jack recognized. It was Tony, his old friend. Jack, it's bad! Tony shouted, urgency dripping from every word. We've got to get you out, now! What the hell is going on? Jack demanded, his voice tightening. Everything felt like a storm, the wind howling, pressure building. Suddenly, the lights flickered and died, plunging them into darkness. The sound of chaos grew outside, police shouting. The dim emergency lights flickered back on, revealing the fear etched in the faces of both friends and foes. And then came the whispers. Unbelievable! One of the officers muttered, his voice low. How did he get to this point? Jack turned, ready to fight the weight of accusation. What's happening? Why are you here? You can't arrest me. It's not just you anymore, Claire said, stepping forward, her face pale. Jack, it's your father. The company. It's all a setup. They're linking you to something much bigger. What do you mean? Confusion laced his voice as breath quickened and reality twisted under his feet. Your father was involved in deals, illegal ones. They're saying you inherited more than just his company. Claire's voice shook, panic slipping out. His heart raced. No, he wouldn't do that. He was a good man. Jack, there's evidence. Shady transactions. Everything is tied back to you. They're trying to pull you down with him. Just then, Marcus stepped forward, eyes gleaming with something wild. That's not just it, Jack. Your father, he's not just linked. He's been hiding things, dangerous things. He was never just a businessman. He made enemies, serious ones. Jack's chest tightened. What are you saying? They think you knew. They think you're involved. Someone's managed to dig up everything. The truth hung heavy in the air, like a thick fog pressing down, curling around them. Just as Jack opened his mouth to respond, the sudden crack of a gunshot sounded. The loud bang echoed like thunder, piercing the tension in the room. Time froze. Everyone turned, eyes wide. A figure stumbled in, clutching their shoulder, blood seeping through their clothes. A cop! "Get down!" officers shouted as they pushed past Jack, rushing to help their fallen comrade. In the tumult, Jack caught a glimpse of Marcus, eyes darting with fear and realization. "They're coming for you! We have to go!" "No!" Jack's world spun. All his life, he wanted power, wealth, the American dream. But now it felt like a nightmare unraveling. Did his father pass down a legacy of lies? Just then, he remembered the last conversation with Dad and the way he'd hesitated about keeping things clean. "You don't understand, Marcus. They can't think I'm involved. I didn't do anything." Marcus's voice rose over the chaos, urgent, shaking. "But they do! They're coming for blood, Jack! We have to move before it's too late." A chill crept up Jack's spine. What was happening? Who was really behind this? And why did he feel so trapped? The door slammed open again, and an officer took a step inside, gun raised. "Drop it! Hands in the air, now!" In that heartbeat, the burning realization hit Jack. Everything he thought about himself, his family, was about to implode. And before he could fully comprehend what was happening, Claire pushed through the chaos. "Jack, there's something you need to know." Your father, but a loud crash interrupted her. Debris from the window raining down as chaos erupted outside. "Move!" Tony shouted, pulling Jack away. But he felt rooted to the spot. What secrets lay hidden in his family's past? As he scanned the faces around him, he couldn't shake the unease clawing at his insides. What if this was only the beginning? What if everything he built was built on lies? Jack stood at the window, heart racing, the city beneath him alive with energy. He wanted to change, to step away from the golden cage he'd built. But could he really risk it all? The flashing reminders of his phone pulled him back to the reality of the board meetings and the whispers of betrayal. The looming pressure felt like a weight on his chest, but the idea of Marcus's fire pulled at something in him. Just then, a loud crash echoed from below. Jack turned, eyes wide, straining to hear over the rain's relentless rhythm. Then came the screams, piercing, raw, shattering the night's music. Something was wrong. His pulse quickened, and he rushed to the elevator, pressing the button like it could hurry fate. Outside, a crowd had formed, faces pale under the glow of red and blue lights flashing in the night. Jack pushed through the throng, breath hitching as he peered over shoulders to see. And there it was, a cab, crumpled like a soda can, surrounded by emergency lights. His heart dropped when he recognized the driver. The familiar baseball cap, the grin. "Marcus! Marcus!" Jack shouted. A desperate plea as he forced himself closer through the mass of people, the buzz of voices swirling around him. "Marcus!" But all he saw was chaos. Paramedics worked quickly, their hands moving with urgency as they pulled Marcus from the wreckage, his body limp. Jack's world crashed around him. He pushed forward, but a police officer blocked his way, eyes grave. "Sir, back off," he commanded. But Jack barely heard. His gaze was locked on Marcus, the man who had stirred something deep inside him, now fighting for breath beneath harsh lights. "What happened?" Jack demanded, desperate now. "Hit and run," someone said, a voice in the crowd, flat and emotionless. Driver took off. Jack's anger ignited, blazing hotter than any fire he'd built in his life. The world around him faded to a dull roar. He fought against the rising tide of panic, pushing to affront, feeling the stares of the crowd, judging, wondering. Their whispers mixed with the sirens, speculating about the man in the suit, wanting to know what a tech billionaire was doing in a situation like this. "Marcus, hang on!" Jack shouted, his voice cracking with raw emotion. But Marcus's eyes fluttered, fading, and something shattered within Jack. All at once, memories of their shared moments filled him. The laughter, the music, they felt like ghosts slipping away. Just then, something shifted in the background. A figure emerged, moving through the fog of confusion. A man unfamiliar yet magnetic approached the scene with an air of calm amidst the panic. Jack squinted, trying to place him. But then, the stranger locked eyes with him, and Jack felt a jolt. Recognition. Or was it déjà vu? The man raised a hand, a smirk playing at the corner of his lips. Suddenly, it all unraveled. A whispered name, a connection like electric shockwaves between Jack and this mystery man. A family secret lost in the smoke of time. A revelation that could change everything Jack thought he knew about himself and his entire life. "Let's see how deep this rabbit hole goes," the man said, voice low and conspiratorial, just loud enough for Jack to hear. Jack's heart raced. What did he mean? How could this stranger have anything to do with him? And as the paramedics lifted Marcus, a thought sliced through Jack's mind. A feeling that everything was about to change. The rain continued to fall, each drop echoing the uncertainty that hung thick in the air. What if the truth wasn't just about Marcus, but about Jack too? What if everything he'd built was based on lies? Jack stared out over the city, heart pounding. The weight of the unknown pressed on him like a lead blanket. Could he let go? Could he embrace the chaos? Just then, a loud crash erupted from below, snapping him from his thoughts. Glass shattered, screams broke the air. Jack rushed to the window, panic clawing at his throat. His pulse raced as chaos unfolded down on the street. A nearby car had collided with a street vendor's table. The aftermath looked like a scene from a horror movie. People scrambled, gasping, hands covering mouths in shock. But something about the chaos pulled at Jack's gut. His eyes zeroed in on a figure among the crowd, the very guitar player he had been drawn to, Marcus. Jack's heart dropped. He watched as Marcus knelt on the pavement, clutching his leg, blood pooling around him like a dark, ominous cloud against the gray cement. Jack felt frozen, the world outside pressing closely, an agonizing moment stretching toward infinity. He remembered the warmth of Marcus's smile, the way passion poured from his chords, giving life to the dreary streets. Now, it was just suffering. Jack tore away from the window, guilt and fear igniting a fire inside him. I can't just stand here, he thought, as he sprinted for the elevator. As he raced down, the world around became a blur. The cacophony of sirens blasted, mingling with gasps, cries, and the distant shouts of bystanders. Each step felt heavier than the last, like concrete was binding him. The elevator door opened with a ding, and he burst into the lobby. Jack weaved his way through the gathering crowds, pushing past voices that filled the air with concern and curiosity. He finally made it to street level, heart pounding as he spotted Marcus. Paramedics swarmed, their expressions a mix of urgency and dread. "Move back!" a paramedic shouted. Jack's heart sank, panic gripping him tighter. He fought his way closer, desperate to reach Marcus. But as he got near, something else caught his eye. A figure, a suited man with cold eyes, hovered at the edge of the crowd, watching with a hint of a smirk. It hit Jack like a punch to the gut. This man radiated danger, a stark contrast to Marcus's vulnerability. Who is he? Jack wondered, instinctively feeling that this man was far from innocent. His gut twisted. What does he want? Before he could process, the crowd erupted. "He's got a gun!" someone screamed, pointing. Panic surged. Jack's body ignited, instincts kicking in. This was no longer just a street accident. This was a scene growing darker with every heartbeat. Jack surged forward, adrenaline surging. He needed to protect Marcus, to protect everyone. "Get back!" he yelled, pushing through barriers of fear. But in that chaotic moment, everything changed. Gunfire rang out, echoing through the alleys. Bodies dropped. Jack felt a sharp pain in his leg as he crumpled to the ground. The realization washed over him like ice water. He had been hit. The pain seared, a burning fire igniting, stealing the breath from his lungs. But through the fading light, Jack saw Marcus's face. Heart racing, he knew this wasn't just about him anymore. It was a fight for life. The stakes were higher than ever, intertwining their destinies in a brutal embrace of chaos. As darkness began to creep in, Jack had one last thought. Was this the end of everything he had built? Or just the beginning of something he never saw coming? Everything was at stake now. Jack stood frozen, the rain continuing its rhythmic dance against the glass. His heart wrestled with the weight of choices. He wanted to break free and pursue the light that Marcus represented. But then a loud crash erupted from the street below. Glass shattering. A scream piercing the night. Jack's stomach dropped. He rushed to the window, peering down into the chaos. A crowd had gathered, forming a swirling mass of horror as people pointed, shouted. The lights were blinding, casting eerie shadows across faces painted with shock. "Sir, you need to see this!" One of his advisors burst into the room, breathless. The urgency in his tone shot through the air like an electric jolt. Jack turned, fear gripping him tight. Did something happen to Marcus? Was it the fallout from the budding connection that had sparked something deeper? "Show me," Jack commanded, his voice steadier than the panic clawing at his insides. They raced down the sleek corridor, hurried footsteps echoing against the sterile walls. The chaos of the outside world drawing closer. The elevator doors opened, and they flooded out onto the street. A thick crowd pressed against the police barricades. Jack squeezed through, driven by a pulsing need to know, to see. As he got closer, the scene became clearer. A car had flipped, crumpled metal glistening in the water. Sirens blared, slicing through the tension, blending with the low murmurs rising from the crowd. "What happened?" Jack yelled at a bystander, his voice barely above the din. "Who was in the car?" The man shook his head, eyes wide with shock. "They said it was Marcus. He was trying to cross." Jack felt the world tilt beneath him. Marcus? No, it couldn't be true. He pushed harder against the surge of bodies. The fabric of reality fraying with each step. He needed to find him, to reach him, before something irreversible happened. But just then, a figure stumbled out of the wreckage, a silhouette against the flashing lights, dark and wrapped in shadows. Panic twisted Jack's gut tight as the crowd gasped collectively. "No! No!" a woman cried out, desperation rising in her voice, shaking Jack to his core. The figure fell to the ground, and Jack dove through the throng, heart pounding, breath catching. He reached Marcus just as the world blurred, lights dimming. But something was wrong, deeply wrong. As Jack knelt beside him, he felt cold dread wash over him. The look in Marcus's eyes, a mixture of pain and something deeper, something familiar. Those eyes! Jack felt a pull, a gut-wrenching recognition. "Marcus?" Jack gasped, barely able to form the words around the lump in his throat. With a shaky hand, Marcus reached for Jack's wrist. "Jack, The choked whisper tumbled from his lips as he winced, struggling to hold on. And then, time shattered. Marcus gasped, and with it, a flood of secrets poured forth in a single haunting revelation. "I'm your brother." The words ripped through Jack's mind like glass, splintering everything he thought he knew. Time froze, the rain drummed on, the sirens wailed, and the city blurred into an unrecognizable whirl. Jack's heart raced, spinning in disbelief. A brother? The truth hung heavy in the soaked air, chaotic and unyielding. Just when Jack thought he could step into the light, the shadows of his past surged forward. He cradled Marcus's face in his trembling hands, searching for answers in those familiar eyes. The noise around him faded, leaving only a deafening silence filled with undeniable shock. Could everything he built have been based on a misguided foundation? Could the real connections lie buried beneath secrets so deep they could drown him? As the flashing lights blurred into the night, Jack faced the ultimate question. Was everything worth it? The city spun around him, but Marcus held tight, eyes pleading for understanding. And Jack realized maybe finding the answer came at a cost, far beyond anything he could have anticipated. Jack's heart thundered in his chest. The electric pull of Marcus's revelation, hanging in the air like a dark cloud. He tried to process the words. His brother? It felt impossible, unreal. The chaos around him faded. All that existed was Marcus's gaze, laden with ew. But before Jack could respond, a piercing scream shattered the moment. "Run!" someone shouted. Jack tensed, turning toward the commotion. Another figure emerged, panic painted across their face. The crowd parted as if parting for a flood. A man in a black coat rushed toward them, eyes wild, clutching something in his hand. A gun, gleaming ominously under the streetlights. "Get down!" someone yelled. but it felt like time had frozen, the world narrowing to the sound of Jack's pulse ringing in his ears. Fear washed over him like a tide, pulling him further into shock. "Jack!" Marcus gasped, his voice strained, his grip tightening as blood seeped from his wound. "We need to go now!" But no one moved. The figure raised the gun, and before anyone could react, a shot rang out, echoing across the street like a thunderclap. Jack didn't think. He lunged forward, arms wrapping protectively around Marcus as bullets whizzed past them. The world erupted into chaos as screams punctuated the night. People were diving for cover, shoving him away from the danger, but Jack held on, clutching Marcus tighter. "Stay down!" he shouted, his heart racing. The chaos swirled, shadows dancing against blinding lights as sirens wailed. But in that moment, everything went dark. The weight of confusion crashed over Jack like a wave. He felt something hard at his back, the pavement rough beneath him, and then Marcus slipping. Jack's breath caught as he turned his head, instinctively searching for the source of the chaos. But all he saw were shadows moving through the dark like wraiths. The man, the one with the gun, was gone. The crowd was still, everything paused, as if the world held its breath. Jack's heart pounded. "Marcus!" he called, but there was no answer. Panic surged as he shook his brother gently. "Stay with me, Marcus!" But Marcus wasn't looking back. His gaze had shifted, darkening, eyes fluttering closed. "Paw!" Jack's stomach twisted, a lump forming in his throat. "No! No! No!" He felt the life slipping through his fingers. Desperation clawed at him, raw and painful. And then it happened. A blinding light flooded the street. Jack squinted against it, confusion mingling with fear. A van screeched to a stop, a figure jumping out. It was Claire, her face pale, eyes wide with fear. "Jack, we have to go, now!" But before he could process her words, another explosion shook the ground, and the van erupted into flames, illuminating the terrifying scene. The heat blasted against Jack's skin, forcing him back, holding him captive in a swirling nightmare. And then he felt it, a presence. The man in the black coat emerged from the smoke unharmed, a sinister smile spreading across his face. "You really thought you could escape the truth?" he spat, voice low, dripping with malice. Jack's heart sank. "What do you want?" he shouted, anger mingling with desperation. He looked down at Marcus, then back at the man. "Who are you?" "Let's just say, I'm the one who connects you all," the stranger replied, eyes glinting with cruel satisfaction. He took a step closer, and in that moment, Jack understood. The man knew the secrets buried deep in the Thompson family. "Your father's sins will come back to haunt you," he sneered. "And you thought you could hide behind money and power?" Everything Jack had known, everything he thought was true, began to crumble. He felt the ground shift beneath him, relationships untangling in a web of deceit and manipulation. Secrets swirled around like smoke, and hope felt distant, slipping through his fingers. With Timothy's chilling words hanging heavy in the air, Jack knew he had to confront whatever truth lay ahead. As the sirens wailed louder, the world blinked into color, and Jack understood this was just the beginning. A storm was brewing, a tempest that threatened to tear apart everything he held dear. "Jack!" Marcus gasped weakly, pulling Jack's gaze back. "Hold on, Marcus! Please!" Jack's voice cracked as he felt fear close around him. But as the shadows closed in, He realized that the real danger was far more profound than anything he'd faced before. The struggle for truth was just unfolding, and he was caught in the eye of chaos, teetering on the edge. As he looked at Marcus, he felt dread coiling tight in his chest. What if this was only the start? What if, somehow, Marcus's life depended on secrets Jack had yet to uncover? The pieces lay scattered before them, and time was running out. Jack's heart thundered in his chest, the electric pull of Marcus's revelation filling the night with desperate weight. "My brother," he whispered, disbelief wrapping around him like a vice. The chaos of the crumbling street fell away, leaving only the raw, urgent truth hanging between them. But before Jack could grasp the enormity of those words, a sudden flare of chaos erupted. The crowd gasped again as a shadowy figure broke through. Weaving seamlessly among the startled spectators, Jack's mind raced as the figure drew. It was the man in the black coat, but he wasn't alone. Another figure flanked him. Jack's stomach dropped as he recognized the second man, his father's old business partner, Richard, a specter from a past he thought he had escaped. The very man his father had urged him to steer clear of. Jack's skin crawled. Conversations about shady deals and connections rushed back, all buried in whispers and half-truths. "Get away from him!" Jack shouted, his voice shaky, raw with fear for Marcus. The man with the black coat stepped forward, blocking the nanoseconds that weighed heavy between breaths. Richard grinned, stepping into the light, his face a mask of pleasure and triumph. "A family reunion," Richard cooed. Fake sweetness dripped like poison from his lips. "I'm thrilled to see you, Jack. And I see you found your brother." Time froze. Jack's mind swung wildly, each heartbeat a drum, screaming questions. Why now? What did they want? The urgency of the moment sent waves of desperation crashing through him. "What do you mean, Richard?" Before Richard could answer, there was a flash, a sudden barrage of sound, a gunshot, sharp and jarring. The world spun, time fracturing like glass. Jack stumbled back, instincts kicking in like a primal surge. "No!" he screamed, as the figure of Richard fell sideways, collapsing to the ground. The crowd screamed, diving for cover. Chaos erupted as panic seeped into the streets, cries mingling with the smell of smoke and fear. But then it happened. Laying on the ground beside Richard was a gun, the very same as the one that had drawn blood moments before. Jack's breath caught as he locked eyes with the man in the black coat who had shot Richard. Dark eyes gleaming. The man smirked. "I had to silence him. You don't know what he's been doing." Fear twisted in Jack's gut. Suddenly, everything unraveled. The rumors of corruption, betrayal, the threats hanging over him. Those whispers grew louder in his mind. Richard had been playing a game he thought he could control. He was connected to the darkness all around Jack's life, a puppeteer pulling threads unseen. Jack turned to Marcus, eyes wide, panic deepening. The blood pooling under Marcus was vivid against the gray asphalt. And as Jack dropped down, he felt the warmth slip from Marcus's body. "Stay with me," Jack cried, heart shattering. but Marcus's eyes fluttered. He gasped softly, "Jack, the truth. It's not what you think." Panic wrapped tight around Jack's chest, choking him with dread. "Just hold on," Jack begged, hands trembling. But Marcus's expression shifted. His gaze turned distant, untethered. "Find her," he murmured, and his eyes slid shut. A suffocating silence wrapped around Jack, his world collapsing, the chaos around him numbing. There was no fight left, only a pit of despair clawing through him. "Marcus, please," he whispered. But it was too late. The smirk remained on the man in the black coat, and Jack's mind raced with the ultimatum. Find her! Who was she? What layers of darkness had Marcus hidden from him? And then the realization hit. To find the answers, Jack needed to confront his past, the very foundation of everything he thought he knew. The weight of betrayal filled his lungs. Connections were deeper, darker than he could have imagined. As the tension hung thick in the air, Jack made a decision. He would uncover the truth, no matter the cost, shattering the chains of deceit. But first, he had to escape the grip of panic that threatened to drown him, as sorrow hung like a heavy shroud. "Get the paramedics!" he shouted, his voice raw, desperate. But he felt eyes on him. The man in the black coat didn't move, and a chilling thought flared in Jack's mind. What if they were all just pawns in a game too twisted to understand? The shadows closed in tighter as the sirens wailed in the distance, marking just the beginning of a greater darkness that lay ahead. He wasn't prepared for what waited, but there was no turning back. Every instinct shouted for action. Jack turned, ready to chase the truth, whatever shadows lurked ahead. Jack's heart sank as he cradled Marcus in his arms. The world around them drowned in sirens and chaos. The realization of what was happening gripped him tighter than any fear he had ever known. His brother, the only connection he had left, lay there, bleeding and barely hanging on. Panic surged within him, a primal urge to protect, to save. "Stay with me, Marcus," Jack pleaded, his voice cracking, the weight of desperation filling the air around them. Marcus's eyes flitted open, struggling to focus. "Jack, it's not over," he gasped, his breath shallow. "You need to find her. She knows the truth." Before Jack could respond, chaos erupted again. The man in the black coat, now at a safe distance, smirked as he watched the scene unfold, reveling in their despair. His heart raced, anger igniting within him. Who was this man to control their fates? As the crowd around him swelled, whispers of fear and confusion broke the air, eyes darting, uncertainty rippling through the bystanders. "Jack, we have to get you to safety," a voice shouted. It was Claire, shoving through the gathering mass, looking frantic. "We're being targeted." "Targeted? Why?" Jack shot back, urgency thrumming through his veins as he kept an eye on Marcus, who was slipping away. "I can't just leave him!" "Listen!" Claire insisted, her tone sharp as glass. "If we don't move now, we'll all be caught in this nightmare." Glimpses of police closing in flashed before Jack's eyes. Sirens screamed louder, cutting through the haze of panic. The air felt thick with fear, a stifling shroud that threatened to swallow them whole. He took a shaky breath, torn in two, one part wanting to keep Marcus close, the other driven by an instinct for survival. "Find her," Marcus rasped, his voice barely above a whisper, forcing Jack's attention back. "She's everything." "No, stay awake! Help is coming!" Jack shouted, hands trembling as he felt the warmth of Marcus's blood slip through his fingers. Marcus's eyes were heavy with pain, and something unspoken, a depth that echoed loud between them. "You can't let them bury the truth, Jack." And then silence fell. The world around them felt suspended, as if the universe took a breath. Jack closed his eyes for a heartbeat, feeling the weight of the past crashing down on him. Secrets buried deep in the family history clawed back, demanding to be unveiled. Suddenly, from the shadows, the man in the black coat stepped forward, a dangerous glimmer in his eye. "The truth isn't just waiting, it's hunting you." In that moment, Jack knew there was no choice left. He dropped to his knees beside Marcus, the world fading away. He pressed both hands against the wound, desperate to staunch the bleeding. The chaos, the threats, the dread, they could not take his brother from him. "Marcus, fight!" And with every ounce of strength, Jack drew from deep within. He shouted the words out into the dark, challenging the shadows that encroached on their space. But then, everything changed. The police rushed forward, flanked by paramedics. They swept in like an unyielding wave, bringing with them a sense of hope. "Get back," an officer called. "We'll handle this." Jack's breath hitched as they took over, surrounding Marcus with their expertise. He felt a cold grip of fear release, just enough for him to catch another glimpse of his brother, now being lifted onto a stretcher. Moving with frantic urgency, Jack gained his feet. He searched through the swirling faces of the crowd. Each one was a piece of the puzzle he had yet to complete. "I won't let this go. I will find the truth," he declared, his voice steady against a storm of confusion. As Marcus was whisked away, Jack felt a spark ignite within him, a fierce determination to uncover the secrets that had led to this moment. He turned back toward the man in the black coat, fury burning in his eyes. "I will expose you." The man simply smiled, as if inviting Jack deeper into the darkness. It was only the beginning, Jack realized. The night was not over, and neither was the battle. As he stepped forward, moving through the throng of bodies, a sense of resolve gripped him, one that would lead him into the tangled web of secrets and the truth he was meant to unravel. As the sirens echoed into the night and the lights of the city flickered above, Jack knew this story was far from finished. Now, if you've just experienced this wild ride with Jack and Marcus, I need you to take a second and subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss any of the exclusive stories coming your way. Hit that like button now to help the algorithm boost our journey. I want to hear from you, so flood the comment section with your reactions and theories about the ending. And don't wait even a second longer to